Well, football is officially back, basketball is coming soon, and baseball is down the stretch. I'm Andrew Gregg, and I'm excited to once again be your host alongside Diego Ortiz and Ben Huber. On today's show, we have our best AFC division bets, as well as players you won't want to miss in your upcoming fantasy drafts. And the fourth member of the crew has you covered on things you've missed over the summer. So don't go anywhere, because season 11 of HTF Bets starts right after this. And welcome back. As I mentioned in the open, I have Diego Ortiz to my right once again joining me, and I have Ben Huber to my left. How are you guys doing today, and how excited are you guys for football to be back?
Doing great. I had a great summer and feel rejuvenated for this year.
I'm glad to hear it. And Ben, how do you feel hosting for the first time?
I feel great making my bets debut. Let's kick this off right.
Yeah, no, agreed. And Scott, we have a fourth member of this crew here today. Scott is sitting over there at the quad monitor and has some of the AFC division bets. So how are you doing, Scott? And just kick us off with your kind of bold prediction.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. I'm honored to be on a show finally. I have, for the AFC West, I have the Kansas City Chiefs at over 13 and a half wins with plus 370 as their odds. I think Mahomes is ready in his ninth season. I think he's still maybe on the end of his prime after that Super Bowl loss, but I think he's still slanging it good, and he's still running the ball great. We've got Travis Kelce kind of on the downslope of his career with his numbers going down steadily each year. But hopefully he's feeling good this season, and I think I've got the Kansas City Chiefs at first place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's really an argument to be made outside of the fact that how many games will they win? The AFC West obviously has gotten more competitive over recent years. The Denver Broncos have stepped up to the plate. The Raiders not so much, but the Chargers are also competitive with Justin Herbert. I think that the Chiefs, it's still their division to lose, but 13 and a half wins. Can you just give us a little bit more reasoning as to why you came up with that number? And seeing at plus 370, especially without Rashee Rice, like how confident are you feeling on that bet going into the season?
Yeah, the Rashee Rice situation is definitely going to be a big kick in the shin for them. I've got Xavier Worthy having a monster year, especially after last season, and I think George Karlaftis is going to have a lot to prove with his 4-year, $93 million deal. Honestly, I think the Broncos are a force to be reckoned with as well in this division finally this season. I think Bo Nix is going to be a great opposite force for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but I've still got the Kansas City Chiefs taking the cake this year.
Okay, well, we've heard Scott's thoughts on this. AFC West, guys, how are you feeling about it? Do you think it's the Chiefs' division to lose? Do you guys have any dark horses in this, or what are we thinking?
I mean, yeah, I think it's the Chiefs' division to lose, but I like the Chargers. We talked about the Broncos a lot, but the Chargers, second year with Jim Harbaugh, I think they're going to be a great team to watch this year.
Diego?
I mean, I think the Chiefs, yeah, they're probably going to run away with this division. I don't know about getting over 13 and a half wins. I think that's might be a little bit of a stretch, but there's definitely a world out there. I mean, look, if Mahomes is healthy, the offensive line plays well, the defense plays well, like there's definitely a world out there where the Chiefs do win 14, 15 games this year.
100%. I mean, they're coming off a year where they just won 15 games, so it's definitely a possibility. But let's get off the Chiefs. Let's move into the AFC North. Ben Huber, how are you feeling about your prediction?
I have the Ravens at over 11 and a half wins, sitting at minus 115 odds. I love this pick, honestly. I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC this year, so I love their odds at 11 and a half wins. They have built up their secondary, adding Jair Alexander, Malachi Starks, and Chidobe Awuzie. I think they will have the best defense in the NFL. The only position they lack at is wide receiver, but it's like that pretty much every year for the Ravens, so I'm not really too worried about their offense too much. They have two-time NFL MVP Lamar Jackson at the helm. They did add DeAndre Hopkins, but I think he's a little bit washed. I doubt he makes a big impact, but it's worth noting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like any addition for that Ravens offense is a good addition just because of the fact that you mentioned they have been lacking in that department for a couple years now. They obviously have Zay Flowers, but besides that, nobody really consistently. Any gripes with that, Diego?
No, not really. I mean, I think the Ravens are really just a great built team all around. They've made some moves to, add some players defensively, like you said, Jair Alexander. So I think there's definitely a pretty good chance that they win the AFC North for sure.
100%. And I just want to transition smoothly into the AFC South here. What do you think is going to happen this year in your division that holds one of the favorite teams at you?
Yeah, so I mean, I think the Texans are going to run away with this division. Right now, 10.5 wins, that's my pick for them. Right now, that's sitting at plus 180. Look, the Texans, obviously, a lot of people think they kind of had a down year last year, but in the last 2 years, they won a division title, and they were able to win a playoff game. I think they're going to need better offensive line play. Obviously, they just traded Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders. They added Laken Tomlinson. They added Cam Robinson. So they'll essentially have a new offensive line this year. They also added wide receiver Jaden Higgins. They signed Christian Kirk. So they're adding, more weapons outside of just having Nico Collins, who's one of the most reliable receivers really in the NFL, especially on third down. C.J. Stroud's main target. And then defensively, they kind of struggled last year, but I think they're going to bounce back. They still have Derek Stingley, still have guys like Jalen Petrie as well. I think this team, they're going to have a bounce back year for sure. I mean, really, all of it came down to last year was just injuries, right? Stephon Diggs goes down, Mixon missed some time. But, in this division, too, that's so weak. I mean, the Titans are still really unproven with the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward, starting this year. The Jaguars, we don't really know what they are. Trevor Lawrence is coming back from an injury. And then the Colts obviously don't have a quarterback. Like, they just don't. So I think the Texans are going to run away with this division. I think it's a pretty good bet to say that they'll get over 10.5 wins.
All right, so I just wanted to make a point here. Do you have any association with the Colts at all? Are you like a fan of them, or like what's the? It feels like there's a little sigh in your voice when you say their name.
Yeah, I am a fan, unfortunately, and they can't figure it out. So I think the Texans are really the only stable team in this really whole division.
Okay, so I'm done rage baiting Diego. I actually have a curveball for you, Scott, over there at the Quad Monitor. I wanted to know if you had any gripes with either of Diego or Ben's picks, and just if you like them, and what were your thoughts on either of them?
No, so far I actually really like the pick for the Houston Texans this season. I think C.J. Stroud is a great quarterback, and I think that their offense is going to be really, really great this season. I think that hopefully, with what he said, the season is going to be an interesting one, especially with how competitive the AFC has been in recent years.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like they are one of those teams that if you just make it into the AFC playoffs, it's one of those teams where they can make a run. C.J. Stroud is obviously coming off a year where it wasn't as good as his rookie season, and his rookie season was one to behold.
It's hard to live up to that.
Yeah, no, it really is hard. And then coming into the season with so much expectations, I feel like in that division, though, it helps because you almost have 4 to at least 5 guaranteed wins coming into the season, which obviously, and then Ben, any thoughts on the Texans?
No, I like it a lot, honestly. I think the biggest test for them would be the Jaguars, I guess. It's laughable, honestly. Their biggest test is the Jaguars. Seriously, they're not good. Trevor Lawrence is like in a make-or-break year. It seems like every single year of his career thus far. Maybe he can do something with Liam Cohen as head coach, but I doubt it, honestly. So I think the Texans are definitely going to run away with the division.
Okay, and finally, we've made one big omission to the AFC, which is the AFC East. That is the division that I'm going to be picking, and I personally have the Miami Dolphins. Not any chance of them winning the division, but winning over 7.5 games this season, for clarification. I think that this team is definitely at least middle of the pack in the AFC and can be wildly competitive. They are 2 years removed from having the best offense in all of the NFL. Tua threw for almost 5,000 yards that season, and Devon Achane is a beast. We also got Ollie Gordon in the 7th round of this year's NFL draft. And I think that one of the things that people don't think about as much with the Dolphins is their dominant defense. Last year, they were 7th in total yards allowed, and that came off the back of one of the best defensive lines. They have Chop Robinson on that defensive line. They have Zach Sealer and just a bunch of guys on that defensive line. I think that they make a big impact, and I think that they can at least have a losing season. Like, that is all that this pick has to be. It's over 7.5 wins. I'm not going to overthink it too much. They have to get to 8-9. If they do that, this bet hits.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I mean, I think there's some upside with the Dolphins for sure. Anytime you have Tyreek Hill, I feel like a healthy Tua is what makes Tyreek Hill so great. I mean, literally, I feel like every year that Tyreek Hill has been on the Dolphins, the only good years are the ones where Tua, his only good games are the ones where Tua is playing.
100%.
Because Tua he throws a great deep ball. He's really accurate, and Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of upside with this pick for sure.
Yeah, I like the encouragement on your part. I don't know if I would reference to his deep ball as great, but I would say
okay, fine, it's accurate. He doesn't
I
have
would
the
say
strongest
so.
arm, but it's accurate.
Ben, I know you're a Dolphins fan. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, early on in the preseason, I personally took under 8.5 wins
whoa.
when those were the odds, which I like both of them, honestly. I think the sweet spot is definitely like 8 wins.
Okay.
So I definitely don't hate your over 7.5 because if Tua stays healthy, I mean, the sky's the limit for this team, honestly. Yeah. It's just the injuries are just not in our favor so far. We've had a lot of secondary depth go down, so I'm a little worried about the defense, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can add on too much. Scott, if you had any final thoughts on the Dolphins?
I love the Dolphins pick, and I might have to put a few bucks on them. The odds are great, and I think over 7.5 wins is a perfect pick for this season.
Well, I appreciate you coming on for your first ever time on air, and right after this, Ben Huber is going to give us a list of his favorite fantasy picks for this upcoming season.
Hi, sorry to interrupt your show, but I want to give you a little rundown of everything we do here at the Hitting the Field Network. My name's Nick Cohen, and I'm the host of Hitting the Field, our flagship show heading into season 21. Live streaming every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we talk about anything and everything sports. Tuesdays, we have season 3 of Girls Got Game. Hosts Katie Sue Christensen and Mia Flores discuss all the biggest topics in women's sports. On Wednesdays, make sure to tune into season 7 of The Combine, hosted once again by Ty Patton. This podcast dives deep into every detail about the NFL season. Next on Thursdays, we live stream season 11 of HTF Bets, brought to you by Andrew Gregg, Diego Ortiz, and Ben Huber. Any sports betting questions? I'll let the pros answer those on Thursday. Then TGIF, because we have new episodes of season 9 of Nighttime, hosted again by Matthew Bracker and Kathleen Moore. Nighttime keeps you up to date on all UCF and collegiate sports. And ultimately, Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick De Leon are back for season 2 of HTFC. Soccer is a year-round sport, so make sure not to miss HTFC. Lastly, end your week on Sundays with our vlog squad, asking the hard-hitting questions and letting you behind the scenes of our studio days. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram and TikTok to stay updated on all HTFN news. Remember to subscribe to the Hitting the Field Network on YouTube, leave a like and comment, and with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I've been Nick Cohen, and enjoy the rest of your show.
And thank you, Nick Cohen. We are back here at the desk featuring Ben Huber or Austin Lamana.
I mean, we can say I'm Ben Huber if you want. No, okay.
Unfortunately, you are not. Well, not unfortunately.
Yeah.
We like you too, Austin. But how are you doing? How's your summer?
I'm doing good. Summer was very good. It was nice being home, and I'm glad to be back. And first time on Bets. Very excited.
Yeah,
very
I was gonna say, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first ever appearance on Bets.
Yep, exactly. Very excited for it, and I can't wait.
Well, Austin, this segment isn't about you, unfortunately. We're gonna throw it over to Ben at the green screen. What are your fantasy picks for us this year, Ben?
Yeah, I got you this year with my fantasy breakout players. So let's kick it off with my first one. I got Drake May. Drake May is coming off a great second half of last season. The Patriots went out in free agency, added Stephon Diggs, and when he's not on the boat partying with Cardi B, he's pretty good on the field. I think that'll open up the passing game a lot. They also bolstered their defense, which can allow for the better field position and more scoring opportunities for this offense. What most people don't realize about Drake May is his rushing upside. He took off 54 times for 421 yards last year in the 12 games that he played. And I think over the course of the season, he has Josh Allen level rushing upside, and he's going at QB 15. If you're not in position to draft a quarterback early, I like waiting on a guy like Drake May. And even if you're not confident in your QB selection that you made a little bit earlier, he's easily the best backup you can get, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is definitely an interesting take there towards the end. I like all the upside that he does have. I think that Josh Allen level rushing upside might be a little bit of a stretch, but he was known to take off at North Carolina. Any thoughts on that? I feel like we all had a little bit of a reaction.
No, I mean, I think Drake May is going to be a pretty good player this year. I really do. I think he, like Ben said, is going to be a pretty viable fantasy backup. And then obviously adding like Stephon Diggs, a reliable target. Something that I feel like the Patriots didn't necessarily have last year. I think that's going to be pretty big for him.
100%. Austin?
Honestly, I think this guy's extremely talented from the get-go. I mean, I was doing some research on this guy. The Guardian, believe it or not, they did a NFL quarterback rookie review, and they gave him a grade level of an A. I know, I was kind of surprised when I read that myself. I was like, I'm kind of surprised the Guardian does that.
I'm sold.
Yeah, and I mean, just everything that Ben was saying, I mean, the upside, everything, I mean, guy just sounds awesome. He sounds like a great player to me.
100%. I mean, as a Dolphins fan, I got to watch him a couple of times, and just in general, was able to watch him in a couple of the games he played. He definitely does have that rushing upside that you're talking about, and especially, like, maybe he won't be a top 10 or top 15 quarterback straight out the gate, but he does have that ability to kind of just, like, give you that fantasy upside.
Absolutely.
Ben, give us your second player.
Yeah, my second guy I'm really high on is Calvin Ridley. Ridley has had the most unrealized air yards in the NFL last year with 1,097. And if you don't know what that means, it just means that he was missed on a lot of the deep throws. He wasn't even noticed that he was wide open on a lot of these deep passes. So he left 1,000 yards basically on the table last year. And Cam Ward is a gunslinger. Ridley is his number one guy. I don't see a world where Ridley doesn't see a huge spike in yards, catches, and touchdowns. He's currently the wide receiver 30 in consensus drafts, so I absolutely love this value as a potential flex play in your leagues. He's going around receivers like Xavier Worthy, DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers. I would honestly take him over all of these guys.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a bold claim, especially over guys like DK Metcalf, but I see where the reasoning's coming from. In his down years, these past 2 seasons, he's had over 1,000 yards, which I think makes for a great player. And just in general, like, he has missed just a lot of, like, he's had a lot of unstable quarterback play, especially this last season. The last season was absolutely terrible in terms of quarterback play. Any thoughts on Calvin Ridley, guys?
I mean, honestly, keep in mind, this guy's been around the block for a while now. Alabama, he won 2 national championships in Alabama. I'm trying to think here, the Jaguars, and right now he's with the Titans and the Falcons.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, just truly a great player, honestly. And I agree with Ben, with everything Ben said there. I mean, I thought he was better than all those players he listed. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Calvin Ridley is going to have a pretty good year, honestly. I think having Cam Ward, somebody who has that much arm talent, I think that's going to help him a lot. And then Calvin Ridley, we know he's one of the best route runners in the NFL. I think there's no secret there. Like, the point that Ben said of the unrealized yards, I think that's a pretty big deal. So, yeah, I agree with Calvin Ridley.
All right, well, I think we're all in agreement about Calvin Ridley. Give us, like, maybe a not-so-breakout, but, like, definitely a good fantasy pick in general. What's your number 3, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, if you had Chase Brown on your team last year, you know exactly why he's on this list. He's a bit different from the rest of the guys on the list, considering he truly broke out at the end of last year, and his current ADP definitely reflects that. But I still think he's underrated. A lot of people question whether or not he can be consistent throughout a full year, but when you look at the Bengals' offense, absolutely nothing has changed. Zach Taylor has been singing his praises all offseason, calling him a top 5 running back in the NFL. They had no competition in the backfield. I think with Zach Moss now gone, he'll be a top 5. I think top 5 to top 10 is pretty realistic for him. I think he could crack the top 5 definitely in fantasy this year. So his usage will be absolutely through the roof. So I think that's definitely why I have Chase Brown on this list.
Yeah, I mean, because of that defense, which was so bad last year, I think that Chase Brown got a lot of opportunities to shine. Obviously, this is a guy that is going to be on one of the top offenses in the league this year. And if Joe Burrow ever needs an escape route, if he's ever under pressure, he can just dump it down. Chase Brown is a guy that can get you like yards not only on the ground, but obviously through the passing attack. And I think that that's a great pick. I definitely think that he'll be going in like maybe the 3rd round. I don't know where his ADP is, but I definitely think it's a good pick wherever you can get him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And I think, too, like the big thing about Chase Brown is just he's so good at like catching out of the backfield. I mean, he had nearly 1,000 yards on the ground and then 300 yards and then 4 receiving touchdowns last year. So I think he's a pretty dynamic running back, and Joe Burrow loves a check down. So
100%. Yeah. And there was just no signs for regression. They, like Ben mentioned, they didn't add anybody in the backfield for any competition, and it feels like he's just that guy in that offense. So as long as he doesn't get hurt, which is obviously it's an obvious concern with running backs, but I think that if he stays healthy, he should be one of the guys that should go off the first couple rounds in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Well, Ben, give us your 4th guy.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Chase Brown being able to catch the ball at the backfield, but I'm going to talk about a former wide receiver in Tyrone Tracy. Tracy is a guy who's rising in drafts, but every week we get new reports out of training camp. It gets better and better for Tracy. Cam Scatterbo still dealing with a hamstring injury. He wasn't practicing until a week or 2 ago. He did play in last week's preseason game and honestly did not look very good whatsoever. I think with him being a rookie, I don't see him getting enough touches to really intrude on Tracy's workload this season. He doesn't really play the same role, and Scatterbo hasn't really fully learned the offense and established enough runs with the first team. With better quarterback play this season, I think Tracy will definitely see an uptick in catches, which we know is his specialty, being a former wide receiver. He's going at running back 30 right now, which I think is pretty insane value. He should finish well above that mark, so I don't mind reaching on him in a lot of my drafts.
Well, Austin, I know that you have some thoughts on Tyrone Tracy, so I'll let you go ahead.
I love this guy. I mean, first of all, Iowa, he started off in Iowa, then he went to Purdue. Not to mention, this guy's only been a running back for a year. Now, don't listen. I'm optimistic about a lot of things, and I'm extremely optimistic about this guy. I think everything Ben said, 100%. I think this guy is going to be great. Top 5, top 10, absolutely.
Interesting. So you think that Tyron Tracy's in for a big year?
I'd say so, 100%. I mean, he has a lot to overcome. Don't get me wrong. He's still new, so he has to definitely make his mark and everything still, yes. But I think he can do that this year.
And he had a dynamic first year as a rookie,
Yeah,
so you
absolutely.
think that he can continue on that trajectory?
100%. I think he can continue on that trajectory and get better.
Diego?
I agree, and I think like Ben said, not having too much competition in the running back room is going to help a lot, and then obviously better quarterback play too.
All right, give us your last one, Ben.
Yeah, my last one is going to be Slick Ricky Pearsall for the 49ers. He's one of the best late-round picks in fantasy. He's rising a little bit on draft boards. I've seen people are reaching on him a lot more. They're kind of starting to see that talent and that opportunity he has this season. He's wide receiver 45 in consensus draft, and he's wide receiver 1 on the 49ers. I don't see a world where Ayuk has an impact this season, considering he couldn't even walk in June. They just placed him on the PUP list. I don't care if it's the last pick in draft. Don't waste your time with Ayuk. Injuries are going to find you this season. Why would you draft a guy who's already injured? The 49ers have the easiest schedule in the NFL, and I've been trying not to overreact this preseason, but Brock Purdy to Ricky Pearsall has been looking quite good. Juwan Jennings also dealing with an injury. I don't think he'll be much of a threat to Pearsall. I think he's going to have a huge year too.
Quickly, guys, any thoughts on Ricky Pearsall this season?
I agree. I think Ricky Pearsall is going to have a pretty good year, and I don't see Ayuk having much impact on this offense.
Yeah, I could not agree more with Diego on that one. 100%.
Well, I think that that's a great list going into your fantasy drafts, and if you guys have any question marks, you can reference those 5 guys. After this, we have the 4th member of our crew joining us for a very special segment.
If you've heard of NASCAR, then you've probably heard of the Daytona International Speedway. Known as the World Center of Racing, this historic racetrack appears on the NASCAR race calendar twice. Once to open the season with the Daytona 500 in February, and again in August to close the regular season in a last chance battle for a precious playoff spot.
I'm Nicholas Hernandez, and I'm here at this very playoff clinching race, the Coke Zero Sugar 400, and the atmosphere is electric as always at the Daytona International Speedway, but it did have me wondering, how much do some of these fans know about today's race?
The disclaimer, I don't know how this is gonna go.
The last NASCAR I watched was the Piston Cup, 2008-9.
How many laps are there in the Coke Zero Sugar 400?
160. I'm gonna guess 200.
160.
There are 160 laps. Stop it, 400.
No, that would take like 6 hours.
Who won the Coke Zero Sugar 400 last year?
Won the Coke Zero Sugar last year. Was y'all here last year? Burton. Harrison Burton.
How many times has NASCAR gone racing at the Daytona International Speedway?
How much time? Oh my God.
128?
I have no clue. I'm gonna go with 100. 300.
156.
So today's the 157th race.
So
I'll give it to you.
156
I'll give it to you.
races.
Yep. I'll give it to you.
Let's go. Good stuff. We'll take that to win.
And then last question for you guys. Who's going to win today's race?
I'm gonna go with Larson.
Chase Elliott.
Logano. Chris Buescher is winning the race today. You heard it here first, all right? You heard it here first. Nah, he's a liar. Joey Logano, baby, let's go!
Logano might have been the fan favorite, but it was his fellow teammate Ryan Blaney who took the checkered flag first in Daytona for his 2nd win of the season. It was all smiles and confetti for Team Penske as they turned their focus to this year's NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. So make sure you don't miss out on all of the action that is yet to come.
Hi, I'm Augie Aronson, and I'm going to be your host of Bizarre Bets, a brand new segment here on HTF Bets. This season, we're going to break down pretty much anything bizarre and out there in the betting world. We'll talk about teams you've never heard of that play in countries you can't identify on a map, whose athletes work 9 to 5 jobs. Also, we'll cover some interesting prop bets, some action football, and of course, my favorite, the late window Hawaii game. But on today's edition of Bizarre Bets, we're going to have a cheese wheel that goes 70 miles per hour and racing wieners, and a couple other things. So stay right here with us. We're going to hop right into our first thing, which is the Cooper Hill Cheese Wheel race that happened over the summer. It's in England, takes place in Brockworth, England. It's a 600-foot hill that competitors race down after like a 10-pound block of cheese that goes faster than 70. It goes 80 miles an hour, which is ridiculous. And it's just pure carnage. So if we could just roll the tape right here, and I'll show you the carnage that happens. I mean, okay, and we got a little bit of difficulty here. We got a little little Austrian wiener race going. There we go. This is the race, a 600-foot hill. I mean, just look at the carnage that's happening. This is like an insurance company's nightmare and a hospital's dream. I mean, that guy Do you think at what point did that guy just give up and just go like? But yeah, guys, if you guys were racing down a cheese hill in this race, what would the cheese be for you guys?
I think you got one's got to be mozzarella. Like in general, mozzarella is such a good stick. I feel like everybody loves mozzarella cheese, guys. What are we thinking for cheese?
I think maybe like Gouda, a little charcuterie board action going.
Okay. I don't know. I'd probably say provolone.
Provolone.
Yeah.
That's definitely a sleeper pick.
I like
feel
provolone.
like.
I also really like yellow American. Yellow American cheese.
Interesting.
Interesting
don't
picks.
hate it.
What would your guys' strategy be for this race? Do you just barrel roll all the way down the hills to avoid as many injuries as possible, or are you just straight off taking off down the hill?
I'm going for it.
I'm trying to slide on my stomach.
Oh,
exactly.
Low-key, that's a smart idea.
I'm trying to like glide.
Okay. No, I think I'm just jumping and seeing how far I can get. I think that's definitely the move here. Thoughts
Okay, some interesting strategies. I have some definitely hospital visits in your guys' future. But next, we're going to go to wiener racing. We have the Oscar Mayer Wiener Mobile 500. First time this has happened. And look, it's a 2-lap race that takes Indy 500. You got Soren Dog jumping the inside. But look, this wiener's on fire now. Onk on the grill. He got preoccupied. He got distracted. That wiener's on fire. And he drops back all the way from first to sixth in this 2-lap race. So you got Shy Dog in the lead. Shy Dog and Slaw Dog here going down the home stretch. Slaw Dog on the inside. Is Slaw Dog going to do it? Slaw Dog's got the draft. Will the Slaw Dog do it? Oh, Slaw Dog will take the win in the inaugural Indianapolis 500 for the Wienermobiles. Look, of course, a race between a bunch of wieners, matter of inches here, guys. I mean, come on. But look, guys, if you were driving this, what would you guys do? What would your strategy be? Because they only go a top 60 miles an hour, and it takes about 30 seconds to get to that speed. So
I would just hope for the best.
Yeah, I'm all gas, no brakes.
Yeah,
I'll say
exactly.
that.
I think I'm riding like somebody on the inside, and then I probably just like pop a wheelie in the at the last turn, and then go for the win.
Lightning McQueen action.
Yeah, that's how I'm thinking that.
So you're doing a little bit of what Slaw Dog did, Andrew. You're trying to ride and pass on the inside, catch the draft.
If I'm not mistaken, Slaw Dog was the winner, right?
Yeah, Slaw Dog was the winner, representing
doing
the
that strategy.
Southeast Division.
Good point.
Let's do it.
Okay, and the third thing we got for you guys, look, it's not as crazy as the other two. It still matters, though. We got football. We got prop bets. People are getting traded. Micah Parsons wants out of Dallas, we all know. This was a segment going to be originally for Terry McLaurin and the Trey Henderson. All those guys are staying, so if you bet on them to stay and not get traded, you made good money. But look, we got Micah Parsons now. Look, if you stay in Dallas, you got minus 300. If you want to move for Micah Parsons, you have the top two odds. The Eagles at plus 1,000. Couldn't imagine the Dallas trading him to the Eagles. What a nightmare that would be. And then the Patriots at plus 1,000 too. Micah has said he did want to play for the Steelers, his hometown though, but they weren't getting odds. Guys, if you guys, obviously we're betting people, what are you guys putting your money on? Because it doesn't seem like him coming back to Dallas right now is a good option.
Well, look, I think if he does go anywhere, it would probably be Pittsburgh. I mean, there's no way they trade him in the division, right?
Yeah, no, especially, and I just think in that whole conference, I feel like Micah's a guy that really moves the needle, and if you trade him in that conference, there's a chance that it comes back to bite you.
And could you imagine a team with T.J. Watt and Micah Parsons?
That would be
Don't forget about Cam Hayward.
Terrible.
Yeah,
Don't forget about Cam Hayward up the middle too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
I've seen him mock to the Green Bay Packers a lot. I don't know if I necessarily like that too much. Also the Patriots and obviously the Eagles, of course, they're going to want to get in there and try to get Micah Parsons. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
I don't think there's any way the Eagles could afford Michael Parsons.
Yeah.
I mean, like, obviously Howie has worked some magic with salary cap and got a lot of other players, but I just don't genuinely think they couldn't afford another $40 million a year contract. No. What about you guys,
I mean, I'm honestly not too convinced that he's going anywhere. I think Jerry Jones likes playing a lot of these games, and obviously Dak Prescott had a couple of contract situation a couple years back. It went well into the offseason, and he ended up being the highest paid quarterback, and still is at $60 million a year. I think Jerry Jones gets it done and doesn't move his best player.
I just feel like there might be a point where one of these days, like there's gonna be a player where they go through this whole contract saga, and then they're just gonna snap and be like, no, I don't care, I just want to go.
Yeah, I think it definitely could happen with Micah Parsons. I think he'll stay, though.
I can't disagree. Augie, do you have any final thoughts for us?
Yeah, I got a couple last things, not sports-related, guys. Look, guys, your girls, we want to make them happy, obviously. You want to bet on, you watch Love Island with her? You can bet on Love Island. The winners were minus 113 on FanDuel. You can bet on that. And you know what else you could bet on? The Pope. You could have bet on who was the next Pope and what his name was going to be. Now, my dog Robert, who did win the Pope, did become the next Pope. He wasn't getting on to such an underdog, but you could have bet on him at choosing Pope Leo, which would have been only 7% trading on Kalshi. You would have got a lot of money back, so it's a worthy investment next time there is a new Pope. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, Well, Augie, through this segment, I've learned that you can bet on the Pope, you can bet on Love Island, and you can bet on Wiener Dogs. I appreciate all that you've done for this segment, and thank you for this brand new edition of HTF Bets. Well, we won't have a show next week, but we are excited to see you guys the week after, next Thursday here on HTF Bets, live at 12 p.m.